Augusta's rock station, 95.5 FM, the home of Lex and Terry mornings. Streaming to the world 24/7 at 95rock.com. Augusta's rock station, 95 Rock.
What's going on, guys? Big Troy, the webmaster, backstage for 95 Rock 2014 Carolina Rebellion in Charlotte, North Carolina, with the guys in Fuel. What's going on, Brett?
Hello.
What's up? Shannon, back in the back.
Yes, sir.
Brad, back here.
Howdy.
And, of course, we've got Andy.
How you doing?
So, it's a new Fuel, new band.
It is indeed.
New energy.
It is indeed, yes.
Tell me a little bit about what went into putting everything together with this.
Boy, that's a loaded question, man. It's
Cock it and pull it, man.
It takes a while. Man, my manager reached out to me a long time ago and it's like, dude, you need to do a new Fuel record. And I was like, no way, and it took him, long story short, it took him a couple of years to finally talk me into it and stuff. And I told him, I was like, all right, if I'm going to do it, I want to do it my way this time. And I started on my search and I found Brad and I found Andy and Shannon, and long story short, we finally got ourselves together and worked out a new record, and I'd been writing for a number of years, kind of preparing myself for something. I didn't know what I was preparing myself for. I was just writing, and I didn't know if I was going to do it for a new Fuel thing or if I was just going to do it for a solo project or what I was going to do. But I'd had a batch together, and then when we started working together, then Andy and Brad and myself, we started writing together and realized that we really gelled well together when it came to that, and kind of on the same wavelength, and the next thing you know, songs like Soul to Preach To and Hey Mama and Wander and things like that were written together and put on the new record. So.
Well, the new record is called Puppet Strings. It just came out back in March. First single, of course, was Yeah. Now you got, like you said, Soul to Preach. 2 is actually the second single now, getting kind of a push.
Well, Yeah wasn't even really considered a single. Yeah was more of a, Yeah was just a, hey, this is a freebie, let you know that we're coming out, and this is a little teaser kind of thing. So
now there is something kind of special on this album as well. The title track actually has a guest guitarist on it that is a phenomenal name in music history,
Sure.
and Robbie Krieger
Sure.
from The Doors.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
Well, I played with Robbie and Ray Manzarek, God rest his soul. Yep. R.I.P. to you, buddy. I love you. But I played with them for a few years, and when we were making this record, I had talked to Robbie on the phone, and we were just kind of shooting the ish, so to speak. And so he's like, what do you got going on right now? And I was like, well, actually, I'm making a new Fuel record right now, and I think I have a song that I would love for you to play on. I think it would be perfect for you. And I sent him a copy of the rough on it and everything, and he was like, man, I love this, I'm down. And so we went over to his home studio one day and just laid down. Yeah, it's funny, we got there and we laid down, he had already kind of been messing around with it, and he laid some tracks down, and we were like, so how you doing this, And he had literally his one of his old Fender DeVilles in the bathroom there, and he had an old 58, a Shure SM58, and it was sitting like 3 feet away from the actual guitar amp and everything.
Oh wow!
And I was like, wow, this is how you're doing it, huh? He was like, yeah, and we listened to what he did, and it sounded amazing. So we're like, let's don't touch a thing. Let's just keep doing this. So he played for another 2 or 3 hours and tracked it down, and it came out. It came out in pure Robbie Krieger fashion, man. It was beautiful.
It's something about those old school musicians that they develop these techniques and just this style about them that they create something that's totally unique, that you can go into a modern studio with all the effects and all the digital stuff you can think
Sure.
of. You just can't match that ingenuity of creating something from nothing, really.
Sure, those guys like Robbie, man, they've lived with their sound for such a long time, and they know how to recreate it. And they know if they're happy or not when it comes to putting it on tape. And that was the first time that I had actually gotten to record with Robbie. I played with him for years, doing lots of live shows, but that was the first time that I actually got to sit down and really record with Robbie, so it was a pure joy.
So influences for each of you. Andy, who would you say really influenced you on guitar?
Oh, it's a long list, but I would say top 5 would be Dwayne Allman. I would say Dwayne Allman, Dickie Betts, like slash in between, and then I would say Leslie West from Mountain, Jimmy Page, Paul Casa from Free, and I think a little bit of Alvin Lee too from 10 Years After. I think those 5 is the top 5 that tone makes me.
Now, Shannon, for you on drums, who was the guy that made you want to pick the sticks up and beat the hell out of some skins?
Probably Bonham. I mean, everybody says that, but there's a good reason why they do, man.
That's
but
right.
Hey,
Thunder
that's
God.
it.
That's the way it's supposed to be, right?
That's it. That's it.
Brad?
It's a variety of people for me. It was, I'd have to say Cliff Burton back in the day was really, for me when I was first starting to play the guitar and bass, I thought his nasty tone and his approach to the bass in a metal band I thought was really unique. And then of course, John Paul Jones from Led Zeppelin, and then later on even Robert DeLeo from Stone Temple Pilots, and then also James Jamerson from way back in the day on all those Motown records and stuff. But yeah, it's kind of all over the place for bass because so many different styles, within rock and metal and blues and
jazz
and fusion. And the bass plays such a different, unique role in all of those. And if you can sort of be influenced by the major people within those disciplines, I think it's really a cool thing. So
now, Brett, for a vocalist, I can almost kind of go back and kind of guess a few of them that may have influenced you, but
Who would you say?
you've got a real blues edge to your voice and a lot of stuff, so I'd have to go back to some of the old Southern rockers, like Allman Brothers, things of that nature.
Maybe.
But I would say probably a little Skinner thrown in there, and Plant,
Yeah.
maybe a little Paul Stanley thrown in there.
It's funny because, I think that my influences, my influences weren't necessarily just geared towards the vocals and stuff. I grew up listening to Led Zeppelin, of course, like you. It's Robert Plant is an amazing singer, but there was also Elton John, and there was Van Halen, David Lee Roth, and his charisma. He wasn't ever thought of as like being the greatest lead singer and stuff, but he was
a front man.
He was a great front man, amazing front man, and at the same time too, he knew how to really capture a certain element in those records. Like the Fair Warning record kills me every time I hear it. It's like one of the greatest rock and roll records ever made, man. It really is. So, but at the same time, it's like, I was also listening to, I love Johnny Rotten from the Sex Pistols, and
old school punk energy.
Yeah, and punk rock, man, and the Suicidal Tendencies and stuff too. Just great stuff, and it was just all about, it was about aggression, and it was about venting, and it was the energy of what they were trying to capture in the songs and in the music and in the meaning of what they were trying to say. That was the most influential to me. So.
Now, if you could share the stage with any other band, living or dead, who would it be?
Oh boy, share the stage, living or dead. I think that anyone would say Led Zeppelin would be an amazing thing to have John Bonham up there again, and to see those boys go for it again. The Beatles would. I'm one of the largest Beatles fans in the entire world by sure. So.
I would say Free.
Who? Cream?
Free.
Free?
Wow. Going a little bit back in the Woodstock days, a little bit, yeah.
Honestly, when I was 4 years old, I actually saw Elvis Presley. I went to an Elvis Presley concert, so to be able to actually see Elvis Presley again and share a stage with him would be an amazing thing.
I think he was called the king for a reason.
He was king for the reason. That's right.
Well, we wish you guys the best with the new album. Puppet Strings is out now. You can pick it up. And, of course, if you need more information, fuelrocks.com is the website. Wish you guys the best. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Augusta's Rock Station, 95.5 FM, the home of Lex and Terry mornings. Streaming to the world 24/7 at 95rock.com. Augusta's Rock Station, 95 Rock.